Alright, we are doing factoring. We're solving quadratic equations by factoring. So these are the steps, and I'm going to add a little bit more. There's two ways to do it. There's a calculator way, which I know not a lot of y'all at home have the calculator access. And there's also the way to do it by hand. I'm going to teach my face-to-face students both as well, so you'll know both as well. So step one, this is the calculator step. Step one, set the trinomial equal to 0. Then in the calculator, you hit menu, 3, 3, enter to solve. Then you work backwards to set up the factored form of the equation. And the way you do it by hand is step number 1 stays the same, set it equal to 0. Then you're going to factor it like we've been doing for the last week. You're going to factor it. Then after you factor it, you're going to have two parts. You know, the x plus something, and then in the other parentheses, x plus something. Then you set each part to 0, set to 0, and then you just solve, and you should get two answers. All right? So that's the way to do it by hand. Step 1, set the trinomial to 0. You're going to factor the trinomial. Then you're going to set it to 0 again, and then solve those two that are broken up. All right, so we scroll down. So we have number 1, x squared plus 14x plus 48. Okay, so we know it's going to be equal to 0. We just need that later. But we're going to factor like we've been doing. Okay, so this is A, this is B, and this is C. Our B is equal to 14. Our A times C is equal to 48. So we make our table. We define numbers that multiply to be 48. So we start 1 and 48. Can that ever add up to 14? No. 2 and 24. Nope. 3 and 16. Nope, that can't get to 14. It was close though. 4 and 12. That can't get to 14. 5 doesn't work. 6 and 8. We finally found our factor. 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 plus 8 is 14. Everything's a plus. We don't have to worry about negatives. We found our factors. So then we take our factors, and then we know we make those two fractions with ax on top. Ax is just 1x over 6, x over 8. All right, and then from here we can't simplify anymore, so x plus 6, and then x plus 8. And then now, our last step is we're going to set both of these equal to 0, and then just solve. X plus 6 equals 0, and then x plus 8 equals 0. All right, and then we just solve. How do we solve for x? We get it by itself. The only thing we have to do here, minus 6, x equals negative 6. And over here, minus 8, x equals negative 8. And we're done. So that is the way to do it by hand. Now, if you have calculator access, you can go ahead, turn on the calculator, the TI Inspire, go to Scratchpad Calculate, hit Menu, 3, 3, Enter, and then it's degree 2, roots are real, and then you hit OK. Then it says it has 3 boxes, which is A2, A1, and A0. It's just you put it in order. What is our first number? It's 1x, 1, then 14, then 48. Then you just go down, you click OK. Then it pops up polyroots and then everything in an equation. Then you hit Enter, and then you get your answers, which is negative 8 and negative 6, the same ones we got. But you need to know how to factor it by hand, so in case you don't have a calculator or it just dies, like I tell my face-to-face students, you need to know how to do it by hand. All right? So we'll move on. We'll do one more. All right. Might have time for 2 more. So the other one over here, we have x squared minus 5x plus 4. Again, I'm going to do it by hand. So first thing, set it to 0. Then label A, B, and C. So our B is negative 5. A times C is 4. So we need to find 2 numbers that multiply to be 4, but can add up to be 5. Don't worry about the negative yet. We'll do that in a second. 4 times 1. Oh, that can add up to 5. We already found our factors. Now, we just need to be smart. This is where we think. What how can I make this to where they multiply to be positive 4 but add up to be negative 5? Those of you that are thinking make them both negative, you are correct, because now with them both negative, negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4, and negative 4 plus a negative 1 is a negative 5. So boom, we just found our two factors. So a of x, which a is 1, a of x over negative 1 and over negative 4. We cannot simplify that anymore. X minus 4, x minus 1. All right, those are our two. Then we just set them equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. Then we just solve. Plus 4, x equals 4. And then over here, plus 1, x equals 1. And we're done. So 4, comma 1. And that's it. 4, 1, comma 4. All right, so again, I'll break it down in case I went a little bit too fast. Of course, we set the trinomial equal to 0, labeled a, b, and c. b is negative 5. A times c is 4. Then we make our little table to find factors of 4 that can add up to b, which is negative 5. The first one, 4 times 1, that can add up to 5. We just got to make it add up to negative 5. How do we do that? We made them both negative, because that makes it add up to negative 5, and negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. Then we move it over, and we put it over a of x, which a of x is 1x, so just x and x over negative 4, x over negative 1, already simplified. So then x minus 4, x minus 1 are our two binomials. Then we set both of them equal to 0 and just solve, and we get x equals 4 and x equals 1. All right. Now I will do one more, because down here, number 3, a is not 1, so it's not as easy, so I do want to do one more. Okay, so label it a, b, and c equal to 0. Now we have our b is equal to negative 13, and our a times c is equal to a positive 42. All right, so we need to find factors of 42 that will add up to 13. So let's just go one at a time. 1 and 42, that won't work. 2 and 21. Oops, sorry. Yeah, 2 and 21. All right. 3 and 14. Will that get us to negative 13? Nope. 4 won't work. 5, no. 6 and 7. Oh, look at that. We have something we can do. Those can add up to 13. But now we just got to figure out how can we get that to negative 13, but have it multiply to be positive 42. Same thing up above, make them both negative. Negative 6 plus negative 7 is negative 13, and negative 6 times negative 7 is positive 42. So now we take our a of x, which now a of x is 2x. Please don't forget that. 2x over negative 6. 2x over negative 7. All right. Then, can we simplify the first one? Yes, we can. We can divide both the top and bottom by 2. And that becomes x minus 3. And then we cannot simplify 2x minus 7. So it's x minus 3. And then 2x minus 7. Those are our binomials. Now, I'm going to move up above here. We're here. All we have to do is now solve. So x minus 3 equals 0. And then on the left side, I'll do 2x minus 7 equals 0. Then I'm going to do the left side first, because this might look a little scary, a little tricky. All we do is add 7 plus 7. All right, and then 2x equals 7. Then divide by 2, x equals 7 over 2. Don't worry about it. Yes, sometimes you might get fractions. Over here, the right side is easy. Just add 3 plus 3. X equals 3. So our final answer for number 3 is 7 over 2, comma 3. that's it. All right, that is the way to do it by hand. Okay. Do number 4 by yourself. Complete the worksheet, submit it, rewatch the video if you need to. Let me know if you have any questions. One thing I want to note on number 4, you have a greatest common factor. Boom, boom, boom. So when you factor it out, you're factoring it out using the greatest common factor method first. I'll help you out. Factor out 5 first, divide everything else. So 5x squared plus 8x plus 7. All right? And then you should be able to do it from there. Okay? All the same steps. Rewatch the video, do the worksheet, you'll do great.